Hello, you're welcome to Newspoint on TEK TV. My name is Agyemang. Coming up, the NDC condemns Supreme Court 4 months jail term of Monte FM's trial. Details of this story and more coming up. Our very first story, the incumbent National Democratic Congress NDC has condemned the 4-month jail term given to the host of the Pampasu show on Accra-based Monte FM, Salifu Mase alias Mugabe, and the 2 panelists, Alistair Nelson and Godwin Akugan, after they were found guilty of contempt. In a statement signed and issued by the party's chairman, Kofi Potifi, on Wednesday evening, the party said it had learned with dismay, disbelief and shock the jailing of the journalist and 2 Ghanaian citizens by the Supreme Court of Ghana after contempt proceedings. The 2 panelists had threatened to kill judges of the Supreme Court during one of the discussions on the station owned by senior members of the NDC. The trio were handed a 4-month prison sentence along with a fine of 10,000 Ghana cedis each. The 4 directors of Network Broadcasting Limited, owners of Monte FM, Ato Ahoy, Edward Ado, Kwasi Che Etia and Kwasi Bram Ado, are also to pay a fine of 30,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. Harry Zago, owner of Zizi Media, which owns Monte FM frequency 100.1, is also to pay separate fine of 30,000 Ghana cedis. The flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP, Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings, has criticized the Mahama administration for mismanaging the country. She stated that the current administration has failed to create a favorable economy to drive businesses into the country and therefore does not deserve a second term in office. Speaking at IEA's Evening Encounter series yesterday, the former First Lady said the Mahama-led administration lacks the ideas required to create job opportunities for the youth. She added that under her leadership, she would ensure that the country returns to its rightful place as one of the best investment hubs on the continent. The publisher and Chief Executive Officer of Ovation Media Group, Chief Bashirun Dele Mumudu, has been awarded an honorary doctorate degree by the University of Professional Studies in Accra. The award will be bestowed on the veteran journalist at the university's 8th congregation on Saturday. This is to recognize and appreciate his outstanding contribution to business, politics, literature, and the media industry. The Nigerian businessman has featured a lot of people in Africa and the world at large on his widely followed media platforms like Ovation TV and Boss Online newspaper. A report by the Emani Center for Policy and Education has indicated that educational institutions in Ghana are rife with financial irregularities. The report ranked fiscal recklessness by outstanding debt and fund misappropriation in public organizations from 2012 to 2014. The Ministry of Education was among the top 6 offenders, misappropriating 210 million Ghana cedis over 3 years. Polytechnic institutions reported over 80 million irregularities and pre-universities lost 54 million Ghana cedis, over 340 million in total. According to Emani, educational institutions too often defy the Public Procurement Act or refuse to comply with mandatory financial reporting, among other offences. The center warned that continued financial recklessness would endanger the sustainability of these educational organizations and ultimately affect Ghana's socio-economic development. Now to some international stories. U.S. President Barack Obama has implored voters to help continue his legacy by carrying Hillary Clinton to victory at the polls in November. Mr. Obama praised Mrs. Clinton at the Democratic Convention in Philadelphia as the most qualified person to run the office. He said voters faced a choice between hope and fear, attacking homegrown demagogue Republican Donald Trump. Mr. Trump responded on Twitter by rejecting the president's optimistic portrayal, saying that the country does not feel great already to the millions of wonderful people living in poverty, violence, and despair. The Turkish authorities have announced the closure of 130 media organizations as the crackdown continues following the failed coup on July 15. 3 news agencies, 16 TV channels, 23 radio stations, 45 papers, 15 magazines, and 29 publishers will be shut. One of them, Zaman, once one of Turkey's biggest newspaper, was put under state control in March. Arrest warrants have been issued for 47 staff. Many of the media outlets are linked to the US-based cleric Fethullah Gulen. The government says Mr. Gulen was behind the army-led attempted coup, a claim he denies. Separately, the government announced on Wednesday that nearly 1,700 members of the armed forces, including 149 generals and admirals, had been discharged. At least 246 people died during the coup and more than 2,000 people were injured. And that's all for Newspoint on TEK TV. My name is Agyemang. Thanks for your time.